When I was 13, I actually tried to kill myself, and I almost succeeded, but I genuinely believe that after that moment, I passed the age of 13, my old life did die with that attempt, and I became a different person. I do love life now.
I'm Joshua Ung, and I've invited 6 youth with disabilities from across the country to meet at a board game cafe near Ottawa to talk about our experiences while we play some games.
I would say I got game because of my positivity.
Arriving from St. John's is Patrick Curtis, an actor with cerebral palsy.
I think I got game because I'm a confident individual.
Gabby De Leon is a Toronto area digital creator with dwarfism.
I got game because though I am little, I can do big things.
Coming in from West Kelowna, BC is Austin Dutt, a high school senior diagnosed with autism and ADHD.
I got game because of my competitiveness.
Ottawa-based Bianca Borgea is a track Paralympian with a visual impairment.
I have game because I like to push myself past my limits.
Next up, from Milton, Ontario, is Sofia Ferraro, a creative writing student with PTSD, anxiety, and depression.
I got game because I understand myself, and I'm really good at reading people.
Rounding out the group, from Markham, Ontario, is media production student and wheelchair user Ty Young.
I got game because I think I bring chaos all the time, but I managed to make it work somehow.
Today, we're playing Name, Place, Animal, Thing. A game where a player reads a prompt and pulls a letter of the alphabet card, and then the table yells out 3 things starting with that letter and matching the prompt.
I was supposed to say whale.
This is Got Game.
So for the first one, something that comes from Italy, and the letter is T.
Tapioca, no, not tapioca.
Tiramisu. Tortellini.
Town.
Talent.
Cecchini.
Tortilla? Taco? No.
Tiles.
Tiles? Okay, yeah. Tiles. All right, that's 3. You guys are done.
Tins.
Now you're done.
It has to be 3 amongst everybody.
Yeah, so it's
You only get
pretty
3
much
guesses?
anyone.
You only get 3 guesses?
Yeah, no, you keep going until 3
There's
things have
3.
been said. Austin, you ready?
Okay. So, W. Something that can fly. Wasp.
I was supposed to say whale.
Winged bird, winged
Wings.
man.
Wait.
WestJet.
WestJet. Okay. One more. Oh.
Is that 3? Because wings?
Yeah, wings. Wings. That's 3, right?
But that doesn't really count. It's not living.
Yeah.
Wind flies. Wind's air.
Okay, I'll pass on that one. That one's good.
All right.
Wind's
Bianca, next up.
Wind's air.
Wind's air. Sophia, can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
Can you tell us about your disability?
Yes, so I have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety that comes with that PTSD, and depression from before I had my PTSD diagnosis.
How important of a role has therapy played in your healing journey?
And incredible. It's very, very important for me. PTSD actually hasn't been a disability that's been extremely researched, so there isn't necessarily any medication that I can take for it, even if I wanted to. I don't take medication, but there is medication to deal with the symptoms of PTSD, but not necessarily for PTSD. So there's medications for depression and for anxiety and for, panic attacks, etc. But there isn't necessarily for PTSD and all of the flashbacks and everything that you get. The only thing that there has been for it is therapy, right? So they encourage therapy for people who have PTSD in order to handle their emotions, understand more of their emotions, and fully go into everything of the memory so that it's no longer a memory that your fight or flight will set off. So basically what I do in therapy is dismantling every single memory that I have that triggers me and facing it head on and picking out every single thing so that my brain and my emotions can feel it and understand it, because there is no medication for it, and because there's not that much research on PTSD, and because it's a disability that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Therapy is 100% one of the most important things that I do and that I've done since I was 13 for it. And I will continue to do.
Got Game returns after the break. Got Game is back.
Sophia, what are some other important things that have been a part of your healing journey?
Outside of therapy, writing, music, art.
One of Sophia's favorite ways to move emotion is through music and dance. She's been choreographing her own routine since high school.
I always enjoy indulging in dance. It's part of me, part of who I am in general. So I always come to the underground dance studio so I can dance and take my mind off of things, really focus on my breathing and like my stretching. Dance is like memory. It's like creating poetry with my movements, with my body, with how I feel. So dance, I can do it whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm angry, whenever I'm happy, whenever I feel joyful, sexy, empowered. Whatever it is that I'm feeling, I can dance and I can play a song and create a movement for it. When I dance, it's like I turn into my own little world. Nothing and nobody around matters. All of my life, I grew up around music ever since I could ever remember. I probably was being put to listen to music in my mom's stomach. So my relationship with music and with dance is constant. It's always been there. In Colombia, actually, in my school, they used to teach specific dance classes, different types of Colombian dances like salsa, etc. And we would perform them. It was a big thing. So I feel like my love for dancing outside of just my personal was accentuated in Colombia when I was in school there.
When she was 6, Sofia went on a summer vacation to see her dad in Colombia. At the end of the trip, something happened that completely changed the trajectory of her life.
The day that my biological father had to take me to the airport to meet up with my grandmother and come back to Canada, he didn't. And I call it kidnapping because I stayed in Colombia for 8 years after that. He knew that if I stayed in Colombia, my mom would have to send him money for me. And so he used that to his advantage. And he was abusive towards his older sister, towards his mother. I would physically see things, and he would also be abusive towards me, but he would justify it by saying that the reason why he was because I was a liar, and he didn't like liars. I love talking, I love expressing myself, but I couldn't in that house. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't show my real thoughts, my real feelings. And I didn't have any support system that genuinely cared about me as a child. So I grew up logicalizing my emotions and not crying, or if I cried, being really silent, and just suppressing everything. In some of my poems, I actually write that they painted my voice with the color of their choosing. And so basically, I would just portray a different person, and I call them masks. So there was different masks that I would wear to protect myself and to make sure that I could feel safe. So that was kind of like the beginning of the traumas and the abandonment issues and the trust issues and the masks that I started to create for myself in order to survive and be at least a bit comfortable in neglect.
So the reason why dance and writing portray such a strong presence in my healing journey is because it's where I feel the most me, is where I can really, really know that I don't have any mask on and really understand that I'm unapologetically me.
Got Game returns after the break. Got Game is back.
Okay, Bianca, you ready?
Yes, sir. A dish?
Okay.
Okay. And P.
Pizza.
Pasta.
Pie.
There you go. I'm done. I didn't even have a chance.
That's good. That was good.
What about you, Bianca?
What are some things that you've written in your, like, because you said that you express yourself through writing. So what are some things that you would write in your either journal or like to like show like how you're feeling or anything?
Throughout my life, I've written, and even when I was younger, like when I was 3 and I couldn't necessarily fully write well a sentence or something, I would ask my grandmother to write it for me, and so she would sit down literally with a notebook and a pencil and write down what I was telling her, the whole story. So I write poetry, I write essays, I write journal entries, and part of my journey has been writing from a place of vulnerability, really genuinely raw material that even if you don't have my disability or haven't experienced everything I've experienced, you can understand the base level emotions that I'm talking about because they are base level emotions that every human has. And I actually would be okay with reading a poem of mine which is crazy because I'm a very gatekeeper with my writing. So I was just wondering if that's okay with all of you.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. This piece is titled Mere Self. The time she was 8, the time she was 16, the one she was 3, the one she was 13. And so many more along the years that my soul has been in this body I call vessel. Those times I just stared at my mere self in sorrow, anger, fear, sadness, defeat, pain, confusion, frustration, uncertainty with who I was even staring at. Too much. That is what she's been told and shown by those who were meant to create her core memories. You know, those that you never forget. Those that when you remember them, you smile with the purity of innocence. Those I can't even explain properly to the audience as I don't have them, or at least don't remember them.
One of Sofia's favorite places to write is the courtyard at OCAD University, where she studies creative writing.
I like to come out here for the sun mainly, but also to just get some fresh air and write. Sometimes when I'm writing, I get so into what I'm writing that I don't get out of my room or don't get out of this classroom. And so I like to go out to nature, see a tree, you know, touch some grass. I've written since I was 3 years old, or since I could write, and as well as dance. So I've always said that dancing is your body's form of creating poetry, and poetry is dancing with words. And I take creative writing mainly because I want my writing to resonate with people who read it, and they can understand that they're not alone in whatever they're experiencing. Most of my writing is very personal and raw. It does showcase my life and my life experiences. I don't like to write fiction that much. I write nonfiction and poetry mainly. So with my writing and with the creative writing degree that I'm getting, that's my goal. My goal is to inspire people and make people feel understood and listened.
At the age of 13, Sofia's father finally let her return to her mom in Canada. Writing now helps her process many of her difficult experiences, from the abuse in Colombia to traumatic events in Canada, including sexual assault and a suicide attempt.
Basically, another traumatic experience that happened actually when I was in Canada was getting sexually assaulted it was a long journey, and I still am in the journey. So I started with anger, and really feeling that anger, and really the majority of trust being broken and trust issues came through. And so basically after anger was going to therapy, because part of my proof of this occurring was me getting a mental examination, which is when they diagnosed me with PTSD. Before I had PTSD or anxiety, I had depression. When I was 13, I cut myself. I actually tried to kill myself, and I almost succeeded, but it didn't, I went to the hospital and everything was much better. And then I genuinely believe that after that moment, I passed the age of 13, my old life did die with that attempt, and I became a different person. I do love life now. I don't have, I guess, suicidal thoughts anymore at all, but I've tried to learn as much as I can about my disability and about mental health and psychology in general. I like to understand people's brain, mainly my family's and mainly my own. If you really get down to what will heal you is emotion, feeling, and journaling, reading. All of those hobbies that I have helped me a lot. And so I started to really discover who I was, what I wanted, who I wanted to become, and started taking off every single mask and really going through every single mask and understanding why I put it there. It wasn't just discarding them and letting them go, because that's not easy to do. It was thank you for the purpose that you served me, for everything that you helped me to go through in that specific moment in my life where I needed masks, but I no longer need it. And really releasing all of those things.
Only I have the control over all of my vocal cords. Only I can turn the chuck into dust. Only I can heal the scars of my mirror self, because I am now exactly what she wished for.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for letting me share.
How do you feel?
I feel good.
That was beautiful.
What do you guys feel about it? Dissect it, please.
I think it's beautiful how you're able to infuse your emotion into your words and into your writing, because you're, like you said, releasing that energy, putting it into something, and then using it as a way to communicate it. And I think it really said everything it needed to say. Sometimes I feel as if there's so many things going on in my head and I can't rein everything and I can't organize it, and writing is the way that I do that. And it's just such a really helpful tool to make sense of everything and organize it. Do you feel like that's the same for you?
I feel like my brain is organized a lot of the time, so I don't necessarily do it for organization. I do it for documentation.
Gotcha.
And to release.
Right.
And sometimes I might not understand something in the moment that I'm thinking about it, but the moment I start writing my thoughts about that thing and I read it back, I'm like, oh, I understand it now. And it's kind of like a teaching lesson for myself, through myself. It's definitely a lot of me and myself time.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I feel like that's what's made me go through my healing journey kind of smoother. Because if I don't have that time with myself and I just resort to only therapy and only going to my therapist and only talking to her instead of having my own dialect with myself and my own documentation of my dialect with myself, I don't think I would do or be where I am.
Got Game returns after the break. Got Game is back.
So Ty,
something too expensive for most people.
Lamborghini. Oh wait, no, wait.
P.
Penthouse.
A pool.
private jet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's three. That is three.
People itself. People are expensive.
Along with writing, Sofia enjoys many other activities, including traveling, reading DC comics, and playing pool.
I love to play pool mainly because I like to prove people wrong. So basically, people underestimate me in multiple areas of my life, and I guess pool is one of them. Not every day you see a woman who plays pool and is actually decent at it. So when I play pool, I let people underestimate me. I let them say like jokes or make jokes about how I can't pool because I'm a woman, etc., etc. And then I just wait. I patiently wait until we're at the table and then they shut up. So that's the moment that I prove them wrong, and that's why I like it, because people underestimate me and then I show them who I really am.
I'm just gonna break this up.
My favorite superhero is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has been my favorite superhero ever since I have memory. For multiple reasons. Justice. She has the lasso of truth. I believe being truthful is very important, but not only to others. I feel like that's secondary. Being true to yourself is the most important thing. And Wonder Woman really portrays that scenario of being truthful to yourself, no matter what. No matter if it's painful to be truthful to yourself and accept things, she does that, and I admire that.
Travel is another passion of Sofia's that has a deeper meaning for her.
Basically, one of my goals actually is to travel 30% of the world by the time I'm 25. And I'm doing good so far. That's 60 countries, and I've traveled to 10. And I have a list because I want to travel to all these countries in order to scout out the best country to live in, and so that I can live there, settle there, have my home there, maybe have, you know, a husband and kids and stuff like that. But mainly is to just be free. Be free, be me, have a stable, secure place that allows me to have my friends over, have whoever I want that I love over, and, you know, build a different legacy than the legacy that I've been given.
I feel like Gabby's is gonna be good.
Ooh, okay.
I think I was right.
Okay, I'm excited to see how this goes. Okay. Something that grows. The letter is I.
Iguanas.
Iguanas, oh yeah, they do.
Iowa?
I think the
Iowa can grow. The population.
Yeah, I was gonna say the borderline.
Ink spill.
What is that?
Yeah.
Ink spill, like
An ink spill grows, yes.
Oh, okay.
Ice.
There you go.
Ice. No. Let me cook. Okay. So ice, as its own, it starts as one like little tiny because if you look at ice really closely, it looks like a tiny snowflake. If it gets colder out, it can grow if it's in water. So think about it like that. That's how icebergs are formed.
Iceberg. Mm-hmm.
All right, Gabby, are you allowing that?
I don't know.
That should count.
I think that should count. Either iceberg or ice, both are technically right.
Interest.
Oh,
That's good. I love that.
Sorry, Austin.
Okay, investing.
Damn you, Josh.
See, there's two different people in the world. People are like, wow, finances. And I'm out here like, interested in a person.
Oh, that's actually true.
I suppose this is actually for the round table, but do you find that travel is daunting because you have a disability and it's something that you have to consider when you're exploring new places?
It can definitely cause me a lot of stress if I don't have like everything that I need and how I need it. Sometimes with my disability, I can't manage to get out of bed, or I can't manage to like even move sometimes, literally with paralysis. So I don't have like the time that is necessary in order for me to do all the things that I need to do in order for me to feel comfortable with everything that I do in order to not feel stressed about travel and, like you said, daunting. So yes, definitely.
Not necessarily like when you enter in a new place, but before that, I find the security check pretty freaking stressful, at least for me, because I always take so much time getting, you know, my stuff back on or whatnot that I need to take off to get through the security check. And I find that, like, I don't know, they're not really well equipped for people with disabilities, because, like, I mean, if you take a little bit more time, they're just pushing your stuff away, and, like, you know, like, you're just kind of struggling
like, catch up to it.
Yeah, and you're just struggling, and, like, people, you know, other people are there, and
You're worried that, like, you're holding up the line.
yeah.
I experienced it, because especially going into spaces that aren't adapted for little people, I have to think ahead. Like, I bring my stool whenever I travel, you know? I just attach it to my suitcase and we're going. And even thinking about, as somebody with a physical disability, how people wherever I'm going to go will react. So when traveling, I have to kind of go into that mindset of, you're not necessarily used to this place, and these people won't be used to you. And though they should know better, kind of building that guard before I even go, to be aware of my surroundings at all times.
Yeah, like doing some research on it.
Yeah. And as a black woman too, but yeah.
What about Bianca, Ty? Because you both have physical disabilities, I'm under the impression that there's some things you'd have to account for that aren't things that everyone has to.
I think I'm quite lucky in terms of how I manage traveling and anxiety and that kind of thing. I feel like my anxiety and my stresses manifest in very different areas of my life. Because I'm pretty comfortable being out and about and being spontaneous. That's like a big part of my personality. Like, I'm always doing random things last minute, and that's like something that I like about myself because I'm comfortable doing that. But definitely now that I'm starting to travel more like internationally, it's a little bit more stressful just because planes will destroy a wheelchair basically. I think there's like 30 mobility devices that get destroyed every day in the US. Things are changing, and there's so many amazing advocates and activists that are working to have that understood and have that supported. But yeah, there's a massive amount of mobility devices that are just being like dropped from planes, being like mishandled and thrown around, and yeah.
Like, would it be like because of the plane like moving so fast though?
No, it's the workers,
it's
actually.
The workers,
the workers
okay.
are just not being careful with it, and they're not acknowledging it as a device. So that in itself makes me concerned, because I know that if I were to go to a different country and they lose my chair, break my chair, damage it, that's the only sense of mobility that I have. And in that case, I'm, you know, okay, what do? I gotta get on a new plane, I gotta fly back, and I would definitely like fight them. Like, I would definitely, they'd be paying for that, they'd be paying for my trip back, they'd be doing that.
Well, it's your only way to like move around.
Exactly, like I'd have no other option, but that would be the worst inconvenience ever, so I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly, but I'm not gonna not go because of that.
No, for me, when it comes to traveling, like, I'm just like you, Ty. I pack last minute.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to track, because it's kind of just like in my head. Like, I already know what to pack, because most of my travels are because of track meets.
Right.
Like, I could pack 2 hours before the plane ride. I won't like it, but I'll still do it, because I'm just a last minute type of person.
No.
Yeah.
Got Game returns after the break. Got Game is back.
So for this one, all right, something made of glass. P.
Plate.
No, that's porcelain.
A plate could be glass.
Porcelain.
Wait,
Porcelain has glass in it.
A plain window?
A pane, like a window pane, a pane of glass.
A pane of glass, yeah. Minecraft.
A pipe made of glass.
Pipe made of glass.
What's made of
pair
glass?
of glasses.
Does that count?
Yeah.
How many? I kept track.
We have 3 at least.
We have 3?
We have 3. We can continue.
All right.
Those ones are like kind of unfair. We could just go like pair of glasses. You know?
Parachute. No, wait, I'm not even
Glass parachute would actually
Cinderella
stop me
shoes.
from skydiving.
There you go.
Well, like, wait, didn't Cinderella have a glass parachute though?
Yeah, she did.
Oh yeah.
All right, Gabby.
So with your tattoos, could you tell us any of the stories if you feel comfortable?
Yes. So the reason why all of my tattoos are in this arm is because this is the arm that I would cut on. And so that's the reason why all of my tattoos are on my left arm, and then my right arm will never be touched by ink because it was the one that I would cut with. And so when it comes to mental pain and my suicide attempt, I was so burdened with all of the emotions, all of my fears, my PTSD, my depression, and also my bullying and my experiences coming back from Colombia and the cultural shock and so many things all at once that I physically couldn't take as a 13-year-old. And so I would cut myself, and I would make sure to feel the mental pain when I was cutting so that when I cut, it could be released. And it worked, but obviously I was in a good form. Obviously I was hurting myself, and at one point I actually almost died. Every single one of my tattoos have been a form of me releasing that mental pain that I couldn't fathom or understand because society never gave me the time or the space to understand it. If anybody want to ask about any specific one, that'll be amazing. Yeah.
Is that like a almondite? What is that like the thing with the shell on the right by your elbow?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
It's a seashell. Because I love the sea and the ocean, and it genuinely makes me calm. It makes me. I feel like the ocean is kind of like the emotions, and it's tied to my form of therapy. Another form of therapy and healing is the universe, the ocean, and like divine timing, numerology, astrology, and this is like the perfection of nature. I feel like this specific tattoo goes as a tribute to my disability because there's no wrong thing with my disability, although it gives me things that hurt and that take a turmoil on me. I was designed that way, and the experiences that I've had in my life have made me have this pattern that's perfect, like the ones that you see in nature, like the ones that you see in seashells, like the ones that you see on leaves. They look like veins. The comparisons between nature and humanity are so similar to me in my eyes.
Sofia expresses herself through her tattoos and her love of fashion. For the past few years, she's been working with a vintage clothing store as a brand ambassador and doing photo shoots with their photographer, Josh.
Back, I'm gonna get the whole fit for this one. It's gonna be a good shoot.
Yes, it will. Yeah, so street culture, and I started working in 2018, and through their lenses is that I became more comfortable.
So this next scene, I'm thinking the graffiti alley will be able to get a whole bunch of different shots of just kind of posing and then really utilizing like the background for the shots.
Josh is definitely a person that I started to feel comfortable with in a time that I was not comfortable with anybody, not even my family. And so through the photo shoots and through getting comfortable and through everything that I've done with street culture and the events that I've gone with them and just the shoots and everything, that was another part of my healing journey, 100%. I started to feel more comfortable with me, with who I was becoming, with cameras, with men, and I'm genuinely very grateful for him, for Josh, for Luke, for everybody at Street Culture. They didn't know everything about me, but they accepted me. And they accepted me just who I was and how I was.
Oh, I love those. What? No, that's crazy, that's so crazy.
This one is nuts.
Oh my God.
So, although they might not know everything that they've done and they did it just because they're them, they kind of saved me in a way. And I really love and appreciate them for that.
The one.
That's the one.
Austin, you ready?
I got a question for you. So you said you're very involved in spirituality.
Yes.
Just an overall question, like how has spirituality shaped you to who you are now?
Okay, so I was actually Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I grew up strictly Catholic. I went to a school with nuns, only girls, and mass every single day. And I was genuinely in love with Catholicism, and I wanted to be a nun, funny enough. And I took it very seriously. And so when I was 13 and I hurt myself and I almost tried to kill myself, there was an inner dialect between my religion and what I was doing. Because even deciding to hurt myself was like, I'm going completely against all of my religion, all of my beliefs, all of everything that I've been taught for all of my life up until that point. I, over a period of time, stopped being Catholic in the eyes of the church. And I remembered that my grandmother had a friend from her high school that had a brother who is indigenous, and he's the chief of an indigenous tribe in Colombia, the Guayú people, who live very north of Colombia in the desert. And so I decided that on a trip that I went back home to, I wanted to go back to that place that I've been when I was younger and talk to him, talk to the different women and children and men of the indigenous culture, of the originality of my country, because I wouldn't be speaking Spanish as my first language if it wasn't for colonization, right? And so I wanted to understand, and I also wouldn't be Catholic, right? Because Catholicism was introduced with, colonization. I wanted to really get down to the originality of my identity and where I came from and who I came from and why did I come from them. And the resilience that I have, it's something that I saw in the indigenous people of my country. And so I decided to go back and learn about it, learn about spirituality, which is not a religion, it's a form of living. And I was like, wow, if these indigenous people who have been slaughtered, raped, hurt, taken advantage of, destroyed, pushed, discarded of their land, discarded of their beings, they can still have a preserved area, a preserved culture, a preserved language. I can preserve my soul, and I cannot kill myself. And I can live in this earth with spirituality and being spiritual and understanding that not everything happens for a reason, because it's very cliche, but nothing is a coincidence. And just like the symbol of nature that I have tatted, I have a pattern, I have a way, and there is a way within my nature that I can be beautiful.
Got Game returns after the break. Got Game is back.
Sofia, you're a very outspoken person and you're very articulate. Have you always been this way?
I haven't, actually. Well, yes and no. I've always spoken, and I've always been very outspoken, and I like talking in general. But when I was younger, I didn't talk about what mattered to me. I talked about what I thought people wanted me to talk about. And I also did it on purpose to never show people that I was vulnerable. So I would talk and I would talk and I would talk about things that didn't really matter to me so that people could be distracted by the amount of talking that I did and didn't ask questions. So when I was younger, I was forcing myself to be more social than I actually am in order to overcompensate and make sure that nobody asked anything. And it worked for a long period of my life.
Is that something anyone can relate to or has any sort of understanding with?
Some people consider me an extrovert, where I'm more introverted, because similar to you, when I meet people, I kind of stay to myself until I can kind of see who they are or kind of get their vibe first before I'm fully myself. And I don't know if it's just, I think it's a mixture of my personality and my disability in the sense of I want to see who you are first before I let you know all of me.
Yes.
Then it's, okay, you seem like a safe person, let's go. And then both of us, we love to chat, so then we just chat.
No, I can totally agree with you, like trying to be like someone, like trying to like hide it, like your like antisocial part to social. Like for me at school, like I would always be extroverted, but at home I would be like the most introverted guy ever. I would always like, it was like, oh, like my mom was like, where did all your energy go? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, So I totally agree with that part because, you know, like I said last episode, like I wanted to be someone I wasn't, you know?
It's more of like a protection for me because of experiences in my life where I have been let down or backstabbed or betrayed. I make sure that the people that I do surround myself with are people that I can trust with my entire life. Sometimes the experiences that I've had in my life have made me hesitant to even trust myself when it comes to the things that I've done for myself in order to feel comfortable with my disability.
I feel good that I'm here with you both. It's the first time.
A big part of Sofia's support system are her two best friends, Colette and Alyssa. Colette Varcoli believes she and Sofia have helped each other grow.
No. I need the other one. No!
I've seen her open up a lot more and become more accepting of herself and all different areas of her life and be more welcoming to her emotions. And she's done the same to me. I've learned so much how to empower myself and how to step outside the box and stand up for myself.
Alyssa Camerata has also seen her personality change thanks to Sofia.
I think Sofia, definitely her confidence rubbed off on me. I was very shy, like completely opposite of her. I'm obviously still am a little bit. I have a lot of anxiety, so her kind of like pushing me to go out and do things really rubbed off on me to be like more self-assured of myself.
Look at my clip. Are you?
They've seen my soul. Both of them have seen me at my most vulnerable. They have seen me at my most delicate. And they have seen me at my most painful moments in life. And they have always accepted, loved, and been there. I absolutely love them. I think the word love is too small to describe the amount of love I have for them. They, like I said before, have seen different eras of me, have seen different stages of my life. And they are also people who I've created a good, strong, and stable relationship with. And they're the proof that love exists, that you can heal, and that you can have good, healthy relationships even if in your life you didn't have a good experience as a good, secure family or anything. And that you can turn around your life. You can genuinely be open to love, be open to trust, be open to everything that the world has to offer in any type of relationship that you're in. It doesn't matter if romantic or friendship. And they are my, like, soulmates.
Okay. Austin.
Something you find in a park, D.
Dog.
Dirt.
Driving.
I was about to say a dingle hopper. I don't know.
Daisy.
Driving lot?
Bam. Okay.
Yeah, we got 3.
Yeah, we got 3. That's bam. That's easy.
You could find a dingle hopper in a park.
Sophia, it was so nice getting to know you over the course of this episode, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And that is Got Game.
Producer, Tim Alp. Associate producer and host, Joshua Ung. Created by Joshua Ung through AMI's apprenticeship program. Written and story edited by Maureen Carter. Director of photography, Benjamin Dion. Editors, Caitlin Martell, Suzanne Hancock. Integrated described video specialist, Ron Rickford. Supervising producer, M. Williams. Copyright 2024 Accessible Media Inc. Produced for AMI by Mountain Road Productions.
An AMI original production.